Incredible moment, little girl discovers courage to confront billionaire bully over her struggling diner. In a small town where every corner echoed laughter and love, Lily stood on tiptoes, her heart pumping louder than the clattering plates at her parents' diner. The diner wasn't just a restaurant, it was the lifeblood of their community, a haven filled with warmth, hugs, and the scent of fresh coffee and homemade pies. But as news broke of a wealthy billionaire wanting to bulldoze it for a glitzy resort, that laughter faded, replaced with worried frowns. Lily's spirit wasn't about to let that happen. Inspired by stories of her grandfather, a retired veteran who taught her the strength found in loyalty and courage, she swore to stand her ground. Still, doubt clawed at her insides. With her family struggling to make ends meet and the uncertainty of losing their heritage looming over them, fear bubbled beneath her brave facade. At school, she overheard whispers of defeat among her friends. What can one little girl do? They scoffed. But Lily knew better than to listen to the naysayers. She had the spirit of the town coursing through her veins. Moments before stepping up to the podium at the town hall gathering, her heart raced. Would anyone truly listen to her? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The gathering was electric, a palpable mix of hope and tension. Lily watched the billionaire strut in, a triumphant smirk plastered across his face. He droned on about luxury and grand visions, his words as hollow as the echo in their diner. As the townsfolk exchanged nervous glances, Lily could feel the weight of their anticipation. She shook her head, steadying her breath, remembering her grandfather's tales of defense against insurmountable odds. Suddenly, a stranger in the crowd spoke up. Murmurs of agreement raced through the room. Her heart raced faster. Was this her moment? Taking a deep breath, she felt emboldened as she approached the microphone. Dares of fear clawed back at her, but the collective eyes on her sparked an ember of resilience. They were counting on her. Excuse me. Her voice trembled as silence fell. This diner holds our memories. It's where we laugh, cry, and share stories. Our lives are woven together here. Her words struck a chord. Lily saw her neighbor, Mr. Thompson, nodding fervently, and a weight lifted. But the billionaire merely chuckled. What would a child know about business? Embarrassment flushed her cheeks, but the outrage in her heart ignited. How dare he underestimate the spirit of their town? Gripping the microphone tighter, she made a silent promise: she would not back down. The roar of voices around her grew, wrapping her in courage. Each frown transformed into determination as she prepared to fight for her family, their diner, and the essence of their community. Would her voice echo through this room, or would it fade, swallowed by the greed of one? The crowd held their breath, awaiting her next words, and as Lily clutched that mic with newfound bravery, the moment hung heavy and pregnant with possibility. What would she say next? Lily took a deep breath. The air felt thick and electric, charged with expectations and hope. Her mind raced, racing through the stories of the diner, the laughter shared over pie, and the tears shed over lost dreams. Her voice steadied, strengthened by the warmth of the memories she clutched like a lifeline. Mr. Thompson, she began, her gaze fixing on her neighbor, remembers how my parents met here. They were servers at this diner, starting out just like me, dreaming big and hoping everything would work out. My dad always says, it's not about the size of your wallet, it's about the size of your heart. The nervous murmurs shifted to whispers of agreement. And let us not forget Miss Clara, Lily continued, her smile widening. She came here every Friday night with her family to celebrate her birthday with the biggest slice of cherry pie. The crowd erupted in nostalgic laughter, the tension easing a bit. Lily leaned into it. Each of you has a memory tied to these walls. It's where we gather for laughter, love, and support. The diner isn't just a place to eat, it's the center of our lives. How can you want to destroy that? She could see tears glistening in Miss Clara's eyes and knew that she was striking a chord. The billionaire shifted uneasily, his smirk faltering, but he quickly regained composure, raising a dismissive hand. Nostalgia won't pay the bills, child. The world needs progress, not sentimentality. His words dripped with arrogance, and they stung like a slap. Anger surged in Lily, but she would not let it throw her off course. But what about progress in our hearts? She retorted. What about supporting each other? Can't we grow together instead of tearing each other apart? The room erupted in support, voices blending to create a chorus of passion. She's right. Someone shouted. We can't lose this place. Lily felt buoyed by the waves of encouragement. This diner is a cornerstone of our town's history. Are we willing to trade our love and community for flashy buildings and cold luxuries? She took a moment, scanning the faces around her. Families and friends, old and young, all visibly moved. There was a spark of something, perhaps hope or maybe even determination, that filled the space. Suddenly, her best friend, Sarah, stepped forward. We can come together. With bake sales, fundraisers, we can show the town that we won't let greedy dreams outweigh our reality. Cheers erupted, and Lily felt waves of reinforcement wash over her. The billionaire's face darkened, realizing that the tide was shifting. You kids are wasting your time, he sneered. You really think you can fight City Hall? Lily let the energy of the crowd fuel her next words. Maybe we can't fight City Hall alone, but together, we can show them the strength of our hearts. A round of applause erupted, and Lily felt proud tears swelling in her eyes. She knew this was just the beginning, that their fight would not be easy. But today, something had changed. As she glanced around at her neighbors, their faces lit with renewed hope, she couldn't shake the feeling that this battle was just the beginning. The collective heart of the town was awakening, and with it came the realization that they would need to stand united, ready to face whatever came next. She stepped back, her hands still trembling lightly, her heart soaring. The echoes of their cheer filled her, she could still hear the voices of those who believed in the diner. But in the back of her mind, one tricky question loomed: what would they do next to save their legacy? As the billionaire's smirk faded into a scowl and the murmuring crowd began to plan their strategy, Lily braced herself. This might get even tougher before it got better. Were they truly ready to fight for their home? The atmosphere buzzed with a new energy, igniting every corner of the diner. Savvy discussions swirled like coffee in cups, as neighbors leaned in close, whispering ideas and strategizing. Lily felt a pulse of excitement coursing through the room. They were transforming from passive observers to active participants in their fate. Let us meet again tomorrow, Sarah proposed, her eyes sparkling with determination. We'll sort out the details: who does what, how we raise money, everything. There was a firm nod of agreement from every corner of the diner. But as whispers of hope filled the air, the billionaire's presence still loomed large. He stood defiantly, arms crossed over his expensive suit, as if wrangling for control of the narrative. You think you can stop progress by selling cookies and pies? He scoffed, his voice dripping with condescension. You're just delaying the inevitable. This diner is a relic. Lily's heart sank. His words felt like ice piercing through the warmth of camaraderie they had just built. But sitting there, watching him dismiss their love and effort, ignited a fire in her chest. You may see it as a relic, she shot back, meeting his gaze with a fierce resolve. But it's a beacon for all of us. And we are not going down without a fight. The air thickened with tension, but the crowd rallied behind her once more, reaffirming their shared mission. This place means something to us. Someone cried out, and voices erupted in solidarity. We're fighting for our community. While whispers of hope filled the diner, a sudden thought crossed Lily's mind. What if we used the memories and stories that bind us together to fuel their fight? She felt a soft thrill of inspiration. What if we gather testimonials from everyone? Lily suggested, her voice rising above the drone. Let us collect our stories, pictures, even videos. We can showcase how much this diner has touched our lives. A wave of enthusiasm rolled through the room, and eyes brightened. We can call it the Diner Diaries. Sarah shouted, and the name took off like wildfire. What a great idea! Another neighbor exclaimed. We could host a night where people come together to share their experiences. We'll remind everyone that this isn't just a building, it's our heart. As the group began to brainstorm, the atmosphere filled with renewed purpose and determination, Lily couldn't help but smile. The thought of community truly coming together painted a brighter picture in her mind. But deep down, she knew the battle would be tough. The billionaire might not back down easily. He had power, resources, and an army of influence behind him. What if her plan fell flat? What if the testimonies didn't change his heart? Lily shook her head, dispelling the doubts. This was bigger than her. We're risking it all, she whispered to herself, but it's worth it. As they settled on times and dates, the determination settled into their bones. One thing was certain, they wouldn't let go without a fight. The diner was more than just food, it was their history, their family. With everyone pouring into their tasks, Lily felt her own heart swell with pride. She was part of something greater, fist in the air with her friends and neighbors. They were ready to show the world what they stood for. As the meeting came to an end, she felt a mixture of anticipation and fear for what the next day would bring. Could their voices really stand against a billionaire's greed? Would they make enough noise to protect their legacy? Just then, a hushed murmur crept into the diner. They turned to the door as a figure stepped inside, a familiar face with unsettling news. The figure in the doorway was a child, no more than 8 years old, with big brown eyes that looked like pools of uncertainty. It was Emily, a girl from the neighborhood who often came into the diner with her mother after school. Today, her cheeks were streaked with tears, and she clutched a stuffed bear tightly to her chest. The diner fell silent, the buzz of excitement fading to a hush. Emily! Lily exclaimed, her heart aching at the sight of the little girl in distress. She rushed over to kneel beside her. What's wrong? Are you okay? I saw Mr. Larson, Emily stammered, her voice barely above a whisper. He told my mom that we have to leave our house, that they're going to tear it down too. Lily felt a sharp pang of empathy. Mr. Larson, the billionaire, was expanding his empire, and his plans seemed to involve every beloved piece of their town. Did he hurt you? Someone in the crowd asked, a protective tone in their voice. Emily shook her head, but the fear lingered in her large eyes. No. He said we should be grateful for the new apartments he's building and that we're lucky to have any place at all. A wave of murmurs filled the diner, anger sparking in the hearts of the gathered crowd. The determination that had bound them together just moments ago now ignited into a flame. This wasn't just about the diner anymore, it was about homes, families, and the fabric of their community. Emily, Lily said, her voice steady despite the turmoil brewing inside, you're brave for telling us this. Your family matters. This diner matters. We won't let Mr. Larson bully us into silence. Suddenly, Sarah stepped forward, her own emotions bubbling to the surface. Your stories matter, and we need to hear them. Emily, will you share with us how your home feels? So we can capture that in the Diner Diaries? Emily hesitated. The thought of standing in front of everyone was daunting, but she nodded slightly, finding strength in Lily's unwavering support. Okay. My room is where I dream. I have pictures on my wall from when I was little. It's my special place. The diner atmosphere shifted, electrified with fresh resolve as their shared stories became stronger than any one individual. The voices rose together again. We have to fight for our homes. Our memories. One person shouted, and the sentiment echoed through the diner. Lily glanced around, seeing how their mission had taken on a new urgency. It wasn't just about the diner, it was about creating a stand for every family under threat. We'll start gathering stories tonight. Bring your memories, photos, and facts. Document what home means to you. Lily felt a warmth radiating from the community, a collective heartbeat pushing back against the looming threat outside. But deep in her heart, she felt something else: fear that they might not be able to stop what was coming. As everyone began gathering materials and planning stories to tell, a tense silence returned. All eyes turned to Emily, anticipating her next words. I want to help, the girl finally said, her voice growing stronger with newfound determination. I want to stand up to Mr. Larson for my home and my mom. Gasps rippled through the crowd, pride mingling with astonishment. Lily smiled at Emily, her courage acting as a beacon for so many. Suddenly, the diner door swung open dramatically again. This time, it was Mr. Larson himself, stepping in with an arrogant swagger. What's this racket all about? He demanded, eyes sharp with disdain. Lily's chest tightened. This was the moment. Could they really stand up against him? And as she locked eyes with the billionaire, she felt that potent mixture of fear and resolve swell within her again. The fight was just beginning. Lily's heart raced as she held Mr. Larson's gaze. The silence in the diner felt heavy, a taut string ready to snap. The crowd shifted uneasily, a blend of anger and fear painted across their faces. She could see Emily clenching her stuffed bear tighter, and her resolve deepened. They were no longer just battling for the diner, but against an invader threatening everything they held dear. Mr. Larson, Lily spoke, her voice steady despite the tremor within, we were just discussing how important our homes are to us. You can't just come in here and tear apart lives. He chuckled dismissively, the sound sharp and cold, like ice cracking beneath the weight of winter. Homes? You call these rundown places homes? You should be thanking me for giving you something better. Lily could feel the fury bubbling in the pit of her stomach. It doesn't matter how you see our homes, Mr. Larson. They're filled with memories, love, and dreams, things you could never understand in your high-rise towers. The diner erupted into murmurs, voices rising in agreement. People began to express their own stories, fragments of lives intertwined with laughter and tears. My grandmother cooked Sunday dinners in that house, one man shouted. My children played in that yard. Another added, each story building on the last, a crescendo of emotion. Mr. Larson's expression faltered for a moment, the facade of indifference cracking. But he quickly regained his composure, crossing his arms as if to block out their pain. You think your stories matter? They mean nothing to me. Progress waits for no one, especially not for sentimental fools. But we're not fools. Emily shouted suddenly, her small voice cutting through the tension in the air like a knife. She stepped up, clutching her bear close, eyes fierce. This is where we laugh. Where we cry. Where we grow up. You can't just take that away. The room fell completely silent, the swells of emotion crashing around them in waves, all eyes trained on the little girl whose courage shone brighter than any adult in the room. Lily felt a swell of pride mixed with disbelief. Could this little girl really stand her ground against such power? Just a child, huh? Mr. Larson scoffed, though there was a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. And what do you know about the real world? I know that people matter more than buildings. Emily replied, her voice rising with strength. You think we don't see it? You're not building something for us, you're just taking it all away. There was a shift in the atmosphere, a crack in Mr. Larson's armor. The crowd breathed as one, instead of fear, they felt hope. Questions started to buzz through the diner, could they really challenge him? Could one brave girl and a community of fierce hearts change the course of what seemed inevitable? Yes. We'll be heard. Someone cried out, fists clenched in determination. Lily realized this moment had transformed into something bigger than they could have imagined. The diner had become a fortress, its walls not just of brick and mortar but of will and spirit. The fight wasn't just beginning, it was igniting into a revolution for their homes, their dreams. Tonight, we'll gather and prepare to take a stand. Lily shouted, feeling the rush of power flowing through the room. Together, we can show him we are not afraid. As chatter erupted with plans and ideas, Lily glanced at Emily, who smiled through her tears. Their voices blended into one, growing ever stronger. But just then, Mr. Larson's eyes glimmered with a dark kind of determination. You think this is over? I'll make you regret this. You'll see what I can do when I set my sights on something. As he turned to leave, the weight of his words hung ominously in the air. Lily felt a chill creep up her spine. Could they truly prepare for the battle ahead? This wasn't just about standing up anymore, it was about survival. The diner buzzed like an electric wire, a mix of adrenaline and resolve charged the air. Lily could feel her heart pounding, a steady drum echoing the hope that began to bloom within her. She took a moment to glance around, absorbing the faces of her neighbors now lit with newfound determination. Each one had stood silent for too long, and now they were ready. Okay, everyone, Lily said, trying to pull everyone's focus back. We need a plan. We can't just let him waltz in here and do as he pleases. We have to fight for what's ours. And maybe we can reach out to the local news? Someone suggested from the back, a tall man with a scruffy beard. If they hear our stories, they might help us. Yes. Lily nodded, excitement creeping into her voice. And we can gather petitions. Everyone loves a good story. If we get enough signatures, it might just make him think twice about what he's doing. Hope fluttered through the crowd, igniting whispers of agreement. People began to brainstorm ideas of actions they could take, from social media campaigns to meetings with city council members. We can organize a rally right outside the diner. Emily shouted, her eyes wide with the thrill of possibility. All our friends can come, and we can hold signs. We can show him we're serious. Her enthusiasm was infectious. Cheers erupted around them, laughter broke the tension, and it was contagious. It felt like the walls of the diner pulsed with a live energy as each voice joined in a chorus of commitment. But as the crowd buzzed with excitement, a shadow loomed just outside the door. Mr. Larson stood, arms crossed, watching them with a look of dark amusement. What a lovely little gathering you have here, he called, sarcasm dripping from his words. But do you really think a few protests and petitions will make a difference? I can squash this little rebellion like a bug. Lily felt a shiver run through her. They were stepping into a world where words alone would not shield them from Larson's power. You might have money, Mr. Larson, she shouted back, finding courage in her own voice, but we have something you can't buy: community. The diner erupted in applause behind her, a unified roar of strength. At that moment, Lily truly understood, they had become more than just a group of people. They were a collective force fueled by love, a dynamic tapestry woven with stories, laughter, and shared memories. So predictable, Mr. Larson sneered, his demeanor icy. I'll give you this, you're amusing. But mark my words, I will not let nostalgia stand in the way of progress. This will only end in disappointment. With those words, he turned, striding out of the diner, leaving behind a lingering chill that settled in the air. The crowd was silent for a heartbeat, shock washing over them like a cold wave. Then, breaking the stillness, Emily spoke up. What are we going to do next? We can't let him win. He doesn't know what we're capable of. Lily placed her hands on Emily's shoulders, looking into the girl's brave eyes. We'll show him. We can't let fear stop us. We prove to him that we're more than just nostalgia and that our community's spirit cannot be broken. Lily's words sent a jolt of energy through the crowd again. Plans took shape, heads began to nod in agreement. They organized themselves into teams, some focusing on signs and social campaigns, others drafting letters and phone numbers for news outlets. But in the back of Lily's mind, an unease lingered. They could rally the community, but could it truly be enough against a force like Mr. Larson? The night wore on, and the diner became a lively hub of preparation. But as the last of the sunlight dimmed outside, so did some hearts. What if their effort was still not enough? Just then, a voice rang out from the crowd. "Why don't we reach out to those who fought before us?" A kind older woman, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. "There are people in this town who faced struggles of their own. We need allies, friends in the fight." A flicker of realization ignited within Lily. Deep connections lay not only within their community, but beyond. Could they band together with even more people, perhaps even rally a whole town, to face Larson? As they began to exchange ideas and contacts, the atmosphere turned electric once more. But the greatest battle still lay ahead. The following morning, the sun rose with a harsh clarity that filled the diner with light. The warm glow sneaked through the windows, illuminating the faces of those who had gathered overnight to make their plans. Caffeine brewed, filling the air with a rich aroma that buoyed spirits, and the clatter of mugs and plates became the backdrop of resolve. Lily stood in front, feeling a surge of hope. "All right, everyone. Today is the day we reach out. We've got a lot of groundwork to cover." She watched as nods and murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. "Do we have the contact information for the local news station?" asked the tall man with a scruffy beard, his hopeful eyes scanning the room. "Yes." Emily chimed in, pulling out her cell phone. "I saved the number from the flyer I found a while ago. We should call them and pitch our story. This is bigger than just us, it's about the community. Let us not forget the history we're up against." An older gentleman named Mr. Jenkins piped in, his voice steady. "We should gather testimonies from those who fought against setbacks in the past, share their stories of strength. It'll inspire people." Lily felt a knot of excitement and nervousness unfurl within her. She was doing this, leading this charge. But as she glanced around, she noticed the shadows of doubt creeping back into some faces. "Look," she said, trying to calm her racing heart, "we're in this together, and together, we can make waves. Even the biggest giants fall when enough of us stand against them." With a solid plan forming, the teams went about their tasks. Some were assigned to speak with the news station, others began reaching out to locals they knew might have stories to share. Yet, in the back of Lily's mind, a shadow loomed. What if their efforts didn't garner attention? What if Mr. Larson dismissed them outright? "Let us take a moment." A voice broke through the chaos. It was the kind older woman from yesterday. "We have work to do, but it's also important to remember why we're here. This diner is more than just a place for meals, it's the heart of our community. Every memory we cherish is worth fighting for." The diner filled with murmurs of agreement, and as smiles broke out amongst the crowd, the tension lifted a bit. The weight of their shared experience felt heavier, yet it was a burden they were willing to carry together. As they set to work, bills were printed, notes were taken, and friendships deepened. The community transformed into an ever-blooming garden of solidarity, each person a vital flower in their shared fight. But as Lily tossed names into her growing contact list, a frown slowly grew on her face. What if they faced apathy from the world outside their small bubble? Hours passed, and by late afternoon, they managed to gather everyone's stories. With someone's help, they formed a narrative that could make even a hard-hearted news anchor feel something. Then, just as they prepared to call the news station, a sudden tension cut through the air. The door swung open with a jingle, and in walked Mr. Larson again, this time a smirk plastered across his face. "Thought you could hide in here, did you?" he taunted, arms still crossed. "How quaint. You really think your voices matter?" Lily's heart raced, fear tearing at the threads of her courage. But she pushed against it, reminding herself of the community standing behind her. It's not about hiding, Mr. Larson. It's about standing tall together. We will be heard. A chorus of voices rose up in her support, each word weaving a tapestry of strength that hung in the air. If you think you can silence us, think again. Shouted Emily, her youthful spirit echoing. That smirk slipped for just a moment, but Larson quickly regained composure. Let us see how long that spirit lasts. He walked out, leaving a palpable tension behind him. Lily looked at her friends, determination flushing through her. We're going to show him exactly what spirit looks like, she declared. As they all raised their cups for a toast, a warm feeling spread through the room. They were fueled by each other and a purpose that reached beyond the diner walls. They were ready to let their voices echo, even in the storm. Little did they know, Larson was planning his next move, and it wouldn't be pretty. How far would he go to crush their hope? Would they be ready for the onslaught ahead? As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the diner with hues of orange and pink, the atmosphere buzzed with nervous energy. The community was on the brink of breaking free from the chains that had held them down for too long. Lily could feel that they were no longer merely waiting, they were preparing for battle. She took in the sight of her friends, their faces lit with determination, ready to shake off the fear that Larson had brought back into their lives. Come on, she urged, her voice steady, let us make that call. Emily, with her cell phone clutched tightly, had already dialed the number for the local news station. As the ringing tone echoed in the air, everyone held their breath, anticipation crawling under their skin. When the voice on the other end finally answered, Emily's confidence faltered for just a heartbeat. Hi. This is Emily from the Maple Diner. We, have a story to share. She looked around, her wide eyes meeting Lily's. A story about our community and the fight to keep our diner alive. Lily stepped forward, feeling empowered by the moment. She took a deep breath, and as if the weight of her team's gazes steadied her, she spoke into the phone. Hi. This is Lily. We've been facing some challenges from Mr. Larson regarding the diner, and we believe our story represents more than just a restaurant. It's about preserving the heart of our community, our history. Silence hummed through the diner, punctuated only by Emily softly mouthing the words, "You got this." To her. Ms. Turner, the voice on the other end, sounded cautious, almost skeptical. This is a busy news cycle. What makes your story so important? Each question felt like a strike, testing their resolve. But Lily could see the fire in her friend's eyes. Because it's not just one story, she replied, her voice strong. It's 100 stories, heartfelt testimonies from those who have lived through the struggles, who have seen the diner help families, bring people together. We can share that spirit. There was a pause, and for a fleeting moment, doubt crept back into her heart. But then the voice returned, sounding intrigued. All right, let us hear it. You have 10 minutes. As she began to relay their collective narratives filled with laughter and tears, memories of shared meals and community gatherings, the weight lifted. It wasn't just words coming out, it was their essence, their lives woven into one impactful fabric. The diner's warmth seeped into every anecdote like an invisible thread connecting them all. When Emily finally ended the call, silence enveloped the room. Then, one by one, cheers erupted. Emily jumped up and down, while Mr. Jenkins wiped a tear from his cheek, laughed, and clapped his hands together. We did it, people! Lily shouted, her heart swelling. We've taken the first step. But just as the celebration began, the door swung open once more. This time, it wasn't just Larson who appeared. He brought 4 men with him, towering figures with stern expressions. Lily's heart sank as a chilling realization washed over her. They were not there for a friendly chat. Do you really think this will end well? Larson sneered, his arms flanked by his hulking companions. You've made a mistake trying to make noise. You've poked the bear, and now you'll pay the price. The diner grew still, fear settling in like a thick fog. Lily took a step forward again, her bravery igniting. "We're not afraid of you, Larson. Our voices can't be silenced that easily." As dread mingled with defiance, the air crackled with tension. Here they were, staring down the giant, and Lily could feel her soul aflame with determination. But deep inside, a question nagged at her: how far would Larson go to silence them, and were they truly prepared for what came next? The atmosphere thickened with uncertainty, and as the situation escalated, it became clear that this wasn't just about saving a diner anymore. It was about standing up for their very right to exist as a community against someone who saw only dollar signs and power. "Let us see how long you can last against my wrath," Larson uttered ominously, and as he approached, everything hung in the balance between courage and fear. What would it cost to stand strong for themselves and for each other? The battle was only just beginning. The atmosphere felt electric, an invisible current leading up to the moment. Lily's heart raced as Larson approached, his shadow looming large and menacing. She could feel her friends behind her, their resolve like a silent chorus lifting her spirits. They didn't back down, not now. But she knew Larson wouldn't back down either. "Is your little rebellion really worth it?" he sneered. "What happens when I take away your diner? Your friends? You think the news cycle will save you?" Her breath hitched as their eyes locked, and she felt as if the world had shrunk to that very moment. But she pierced through the tension just as her hope surged. "If you think you can break us, you don't know us. The diner is just a building, but what we have is real. It's our stories. Our lives. We're not going anywhere." The diner felt alive, every familiar sound, the sizzling grill, the clinking of plates seeming to applaud her. As if sensing the shift, her friends moved closer, standing beside her, forming an unbroken line of solidarity. Emily spoke next, her voice steadier than before. "And even if you take the diner, you can't take the memories we've built here. Those belong to us." Lily felt a rush of pride. They were standing together, firing back with words that felt imbued with something powerful: hope. Larson's face twisted in irritation. "What do you think you're achieving? You all are nothing without me. I own this town and everything in it." At that moment, the diner door creaked open again, letting in a cool breeze that fluttered the linen curtains. There stood a group of townsfolk, coming to life as they watched the confrontation unfold. Murmurs erupted, some shouts of encouragement rippling through the crowd. Lily's mind raced. "Look around, Larson. You think we're nothing? You think we're weak?" The chorus of townsfolk grew louder, an emotional tide. "We stand with the diner." A voice called out. "Don't let him bully you." And with that, more stepped forward, emboldened by the show of unity. Larson's bravado faltered, just for a heartbeat. He glanced at his men, their expressions uncertain. They were used to intimidation, but what they faced now was far more potent: a furious community refusing to be undermined. "You can't win," Larson spat, regaining some of his swagger. "I will crush you like bugs." But Lily refused to back down. "That's your mistake, Larson. You don't know us. We fight for what matters: our home, our community. And we're stronger together." A stunning cheer erupted from the crowd. And in that moment, everything shifted. Hope coursed through the air, an energy lifting them all. But that warmth didn't last long. A shadow passed over her heart as she caught sight of Larson, recalibrating himself. His eyes darkened with fury, and he glanced at the men beside him. "You think this is a game?" he asked, his voice low and threatening. "I'm about to show you exactly who has the power." Before anyone could react, he raised a hand, gesturing. The men shifted, and she saw something glint menacingly in their hands. A collective gasp echoed in the diner, and dread gripped her heart. "What is he planning?" Emily whispered, her voice tinged with fear. Lily felt the weight of every gaze, every life that had intersected within these walls. The courage she had felt began to teeter within her. Were they really prepared for whatever chaos Larson had in store? As uncertainty loomed, Lily grasped Emily's hand tightly, anchoring herself in the moment. "Stay strong," she murmured. They might be on the precipice of something much darker than they had imagined. When would their courage meet the real test? The moment loomed near, as dangerous as any storm gathering above their heads. The tension in the diner hung thick like fog, biting and cold. Lily could almost hear her heartbeat thundering in her ears as she stood her ground. Larson's expression hardened, his men closing in, their eyes glinting with menace. It was a standoff, and they were on edge, but the nascent fire of courage within the community was mesmerizing. "I'll show you what power looks like," Larson warned, his voice seeping into the crowd like poison. "You'll wish you hadn't crossed me." Yet just behind him, the crowd began to rally with defiance, voices rising stronger with each passing moment. "We won, back down," someone shouted, igniting a wave of fierce affirmations. Lily could feel the weight of her neighbors behind her, a sea of faces filled with loyalty and purpose. "Remember why we're here," Lily exclaimed, stepping closer, her heart fully bared. "This diner is more than walls, it's our heart. You can't take that away." With every declaration, the warmth in the room spread like wildfire. Emily squeezed Lily's hand, her little fingers trembling with determination. "No one can take our memories." The brave girl chimed in, her spirit shining through fear. Gasps of hope echoed and the crowd surged forward, a united front against the hostility looming before them. "Mr. Larson, you might think you control this town, but we've seen every corner of it together. You underestimate us." In response, Larson's face soured. The ire simmering in the diner was palpable, and he reached forward, striking a counterforce pose like a menacing beast ready to unleash chaos. "Fools! You won't learn until the very end." Just as he raised his hands, it happened. A woman from the back stepped out. Clara, the beloved grandma of the community. Wearing her apron, flour dust on her cheek, she snapped into view, holding a pie. "You'll never crush our spirit if you think you can break us from the inside." A collective cheer erupted, emboldening the crowd. Clara rolled her pie onto the table, a symbol of home. In that small action, she rallied their heartbeats faster, reminding them of generations woven into the diner's essence. The quiet resolve in Lily bloomed into a radiant, boundless light. "If this diner is what you fear, then let us show you what we can do," she shouted. United, they began to chant, voices rising higher, swarming like bees defending their hive, and it paralyzed Larson and his men momentarily. "Your threats do nothing," she continued, the power of her conviction resonating like thunder through the diner. "What good is wealth when no one cares for you, when you destroy the very communities that built you?" Emboldened by their strength, the townsfolk surged forward, flanking Lily, arms raised in solidarity like a protective barrier. Larson faltered, uncertainty flickering in his cold eyes as the humanity of the people before him seeped through the armor of arrogance he wore so tightly. The crowd pushed further, a wave of stories crashing against the walls he thought impenetrable. "You may have resources, but what we have is love," someone shouted, voices intertwining in a powerful chant. A tense pause lingered, then enough. Larson bellowed, but even his voice lacked conviction now, burdened by the chorus of defiance from a vulnerable yet proud community. His men, sensing the shifting tide, exchanged glances torn between loyalty to their employer and the undeniable pull of solidarity carved from shared love and resilience. Little whispers of doubt spilled from their lips, hungry for a life beyond Larson's control. Suddenly, a little boy stepped forward beside Lily, his face bright with unyielded spirit. "You can't scare us, Mr. Larson. You're not our boss, we're a family." Lily's heart soared, witnessing hope blossoming in unexpected places. It was a symphony of voices, an anthem of survival echoing through every beat of the night. You want a fight? Larson scoffed, the wind whipping behind him. Very well. But just then the door swung open wide, welcoming the golden hues of a setting sun. News reporters flooded in, cameras and recorders capturing the moment, emotions overflowing and hearts bared for all to see. Tell us what's happening here. One reporter shouted, and it was like the clouds broke overhead, revealing an avalanche of potential for stories yet to be woven. Lily turned to the crowd, her heart now racing with purpose. This isn't just about a diner. This is about us. This is about our homes. Chants erupted one final time, affirming the unity forged that night, and as adrenaline coursed through the room, she realized something incredible: they were more powerful than any single person's greed. Their love and connection had galvanized a movement. In that moment, hope hung above them like the dawn breaking upon a new day. They were ready for battle for their diner, their homes, their families, and together, they stood firm, unwavering in the face of adversity. Let us show the world what community truly means. Someone shouted, raising a fist in the air, and together they raised theirs high, standing strong against the storm that was to come. Standing unified, they took their fight outside, hearts beating as one, ready to be heard. The dawn of a new chapter awaited them, vibrant with infinite possibilities. Today was just the beginning of a fight, of change. Laughter and unity echoed through the town. They would save the diner, and with it, their way of life. This was how they would rise. And just like that, their legacy of love ignited, a beacon burning bright. Now, this is the moment of truth. If you felt the heart of this story, you need to subscribe now to catch all our future exclusive tales. Leave a like to let the world know what you think. Your support fuels us. Comment below and share your thoughts about this ending, because we want to hear you. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Together, we're a powerful community. Let us lift each other up. Your love keeps the heartbeat going.